no decision is made in a vacuum, okay? So how are the decisions made? On a college level, they are made at the college level. So that means that President Ski is part of a larger group of individuals at a state level. They meet, they discuss the processes across the state, the COVID numbers, they talk about what everybody's doing and how they're maintaining. They look at things like what happened at Bloomsburg when students returned and the numbers increased. And all that goes into the discussion. And at a college level, the decision is made for the college, and nursing has to then determine how we're going to follow suit, okay? So the decision was made that we would remain remote for theory through spring semester. So how do we manage that? And what I have been doing at a state level is meeting with all of the program directors, all of the deans in our nursing programs across the state of Pennsylvania for both associate degree and for practical nursing. And in meeting with those, I've been picking brains and asking them, how are you managing? How are you doing what you're doing? And some of the decisions that are made are things that may not work really well for HAC. And we had to make decisions as soon as we knew that we were going to be staying in a remote environment. Okay, so what were some of those decisions? There are programs across the state that decrease their enrollment to 40% capacity. That's not an option for us. We are trying to assist Central Pennsylvania in filling very emerging nursing shortages. And to decrease students in programs by 40% delays everybody in entering and completing. So it just wasn't even an option. It wasn't even something we considered. We didn't even think about it because we knew in this environment we could continue to provide stellar education, okay? Because we have a team of people dedicated to providing stellar education. What have other programs done? They've put half their students in class on campus and the other half remote. And every week they switch. So you're either remote a week or on campus a week, and they're switching back and forth with only 20 students in a class, 6-foot distancing, everyone in masks and face shields. College didn't give us that option. They want us remote, and that is what we had to maintain. So do we reduce admissions to 40%? No, that wasn't an option. So what do? One of our local campus or one of our local colleges very close to us is doing 8-hour Zoom sessions 1 day a week. So students only have to attend class 1 day a week, but they are doing that for a full 8-hour day. That wasn't an option for our students. We can't expect that. We have students who are homeschooling children because their children are remote, who are working. There are a multitude of things going on behind the scenes that impact our decision making. And nothing is made just randomly. There is no random decision making. So in discussion with our nursing administration team, which consists of all of our directors of clinical nursing and myself, and with our dean and our associate dean, because everything impacts our entire school, because our school is the School of Health Sciences, and it includes respiratory and dental hygiene and sonography and radiology and all of those programs. And in returning students to campus, we had to do it in a way that the critical skills were managed on campus. We are a big program. There are 1,300 of you, 1,300 students on 4 campuses. We're one of the biggest programs in the state. There's nobody with bigger numbers. Drexel is close, but we're the biggest, okay? So we had to make decisions. And to do that, the decision was total remote Zoom. We got it. That's what the college wants us to do. We can manage it. But we have to find a way because students, there is nothing fun about being in a Zoom session for 8 hours. I don't know how you do that. I work for ATI and I have done 6-hour Zoom session days, but we break every hour on the hour for 10 minutes. I mean, we take an hour break for lunch. It is a long, arduous day, and that just did not seem to be an option for us. So we determined doing a combination of podcasted lectures that you could listen to at your convenience, doing synchronous Zoom sessions for class at the time that you should be in class that are not the full length of class. My own class is a 3-hour class, and we are meeting for about 2 hours a week. And there's about an hour of podcasting that the students are listening to outside of class. So instructors had some academic freedom as to how to manage that. But we had to find a way to meet the needs of our students, our working students, our students who are parents and who are juggling multiple things at one time. So this was the best decision we could make for you. And we are recording all Zoom sessions so that if you do have an emergent need, some need that arises, you are capable of tapping into that Zoom session and you are able to hear what transpired during your class time. We do ask that you show up for class, okay? We know that state board pass rates are completely reflective of your engagement with us. And we do ask that you please practice safe Zooming. Do not Zoom from your car. Please do not Zoom from your car while driving. It is so unsafe. And we need you to be safe, okay? We do not want you injured. So cameras on, engage with us. If you have issues that the camera can't be on, and I get that. We have a student whose grandmother has Alzheimer's and takes her clothes off and walks around naked. Okay, we get it. But let us know. It is so much nicer to teach two faces. Like I see your faces right now and I can engage with you than to see a giant M on a screen, which is what you would get if I were not on the screen. So try to plan. Please don't be in class and walking through giant. Please try to be a good student for us. We know you're doing everything you can. We get it, but we need you to be safe, and we're worried about your safety when you're driving a car and trying to be in Zoom class, and it's just it just has many safety issues. HAC nursing is held to a very high NCLEX passing standard. I mean, we have had really good pass rates for years. If those scores fall below 80%, we are placed on provisional status, and the state comes in and they have to dismantle and look at our program and assess our program and determine how we're going to do better, and we have to come up with a plan for improvement. We don't want to do any of that because it ultimately results in losing accreditation, which is not where we want to go. So we are dedicated to your success. We want you to succeed. Your ability to stay in a program and to complete a program is an enormous part of our success because they look at how many students fail, how many students pass, how many students complete. All of that is assessed. So we are not here to weed you out. That is not what we are doing. That has never been our intention. We are obligated to you and to your education. And as a team, we are obligated to that education. Okay? So I want to get rid of that miscommunication. We are not weeding you out. That is not the purpose. It would be really great if we could keep 100% of you in programs and complete on time. That would be like really phenomenal because that looks really good to everybody who assesses our ability to educate nurses. In terms of remote learning, for every hour in class, there is typically 3 hours of outside of class work. That includes studying for tests. That includes prepping for class. That includes everything. Nursing is a STEM profession. It's a math, it's a science, it's a technology, and during COVID, it's an engineering because if you walk into a clinical site with a COVID patient, you see a lot of engineering that nurses did, okay? They have PVC pipe running IV tubing through it out to the outer door so that they're not making multiple trips into a room. There was a whole lot of engineering that took place that nursing was a part of. So we are a STEM profession, and those are more difficult professions, and they require more preparation and study. We recognize, absolutely recognize, that if this kind of education is not for you, we are giving you the opportunity to withdraw and to return without losing that credit penalty where it counts against you because it's considered a credit of failure. We're not going to do that. We've asked you. We recognize now this is extending beyond what any of us wanted, but the option is there for you. If this learning environment isn't working, we get it. Okay, we get it. We would love to keep you in programs. We want you to complete on time, but we get that this isn't for everyone. In terms of the exams, we are still going to be doing remote testing and remote exams. We're using either the D2L or the ATI platform. You will receive accommodations. We have to know about them. So we ask that you please, if you are a student who requires accommodations, that you go through the disabilities office, that you send those accommodations to your instructor, because there is a lot of behind the scenes work that has to take place for accommodations. We have to have additional proctors, we have to have additional times, and we have to maintain the integrity of the test. So please make sure if you are a student with accommodations that you are doing what you need to do on your end, so on our end, we have what we need to give you the accommodations that you so deserve, okay? We ask that you please be honest. You know, we are trying with all we can to maintain the integrity. Honesty and ethics is a core piece of nursing. And that means making sure that you're not keeping notes hidden and that you are not doing things like taking screenshots of tests. We actually had a student do that. Take a screenshot of a test question and email it to an instructor on campus. Okay, it completely nullifies the integrity of the test. So we're asking, please, that you follow our code of ethics, that you look at our code, our Health Careers Code of Ethics, and our expectations for honest integrity and good behavior, okay? ATI proctored exams are being proctored through ATI remote programming. They have a contract with Proctorio. ATI proctored exams are part of our assessment of the course. We use data from those exams to determine if we are hitting the benchmark for professionalism, critical thinking, communication, and caring at all levels of the department. The tests that we used as a Band-Aid last semester were like a capstone exam. Those are given to nurses from other countries who are coming in and wanting to prepare to take state board licensure. We felt that they were not at entry level and they were giving us very skewed results. The only way to get the results we need is to go back to the ATI proctored exams. Those require the use of Proctorio. We recognize that students have a problem. They're concerned about the fact that there is this added level of security and a person who has to have access to your computer because they're monitoring whether you're taking screenshots, clicking outside your browser, doing things that diminish the integrity of the test. It is a absolute mandated ATI testing. There is no way around it. If that is something that you feel you cannot do, again, you are welcome to contact your director about withdrawing from programs, but we cannot not assess our course because the state holds us to assessment. And I will be completing an assessment report beginning in September through October for our accreditor and in November through December for the state. And those reports require me to report back information about our programs. We must have the data. Without the data, I get skewed information and I don't know if we're hitting our benchmark for you. I don't know if we're meeting your educational needs. So we need the data, we need the information, okay? In terms of the proctored exams, you can't do it on an iPad. You have to follow the information. All of that information was shared with students. So please make sure that you have the setup. They do require you to do a trial run, and that would be before you do your actual test. So everybody should be within the few days before taking the test, getting on, doing the trial run, making sure that you have all of the equipment set up so you are able to test without interference, okay? The video skills lab, clinical lab, we are restricted. We have to share space with respiratory therapy and other programs. Everybody needs to be on campus. Any one student coming in sick shuts down the entire facility for 2 weeks, 14 days. So we have to follow parameters, and those parameters mean that prior to coming to campus, you will have to complete the wellness screen. There are appointment times. Please show up on time. And there's no congregating, there's no eating. You're coming in, you're doing your skills, and you're leaving the building. And it is very, very synchronized. It has to be in order to get everybody in and everybody out and everybody validated for the skills that they need. So you're going to do your wellness screen. Please make sure if you're sick, you don't even come. Make sure your professor knows if you're not able to come before you're sick, because we are following CDC and state guidelines. And those change. You all know they change every other day. There's some new change. So we have to follow those guidelines. So please make sure that you are following the purpose or the process so that we can get you in and off campus. The critical skills have been defined and shared with you according to your level, okay? Clinical has been fun. We're doing a combination of face-to-face. We're doing video case studies. We're doing expanded case studies. We're doing a combination of things in order to meet all the requirements that we have to meet. And those requirements include requirements at a state level, as well as requirements for our accreditor. Our accreditor states to us that no more than 50% of your total clinical hours can be simulated hours. The state has not restricted us in that manner, but our accreditor has. So we had to look at, how do we do that? How do we assure, because I don't know when it's going to end. You know, we kind of all thought it was going to end in the spring, after spring break, and we came back and we were off for that second mini-semester that in the summer we'd be back on campus, and we weren't. Then we thought fall, oh, we'll be back in, and we weren't. And now spring, and now we aren't. So I don't know when it's going to end, so I have to have long-term planning in place, because I don't have an idea of where the end actually is, okay? So we had restrictions, and those restrictions included that our nursing 250, 251 seniors, and those entering PNUR 144 and 145 this spring will have 100% face-to-face clinical. Some of the hours are 8-hour days, depending on the site. The group size, if it is a UPMC Pinnacle site, has been reduced. That has impacted the entire state. It has impacted other states and other countries, because UPMC is in Altoona, Bedford, Hammett, Pittsburgh, McKeesport, Somerset, Western Maryland, China, Ireland, Italy, and Kazakhstan. So their reducing group size to 4 did not just impact HAC. It impacted all of those individuals. So when we have a group size of 4, 1 instructor to 4 students, you've never been in a math class where you've had 1 instructor to 4 students. You've never been in an English class, you've never been in a sociology class, a psych class, nothing. 1 instructor to 4 students. Those ratios, I have 40 full-time faculty and 300 part-time faculty that all have to be paid. That's where your clinical money goes, the clinical fees. It's not for you to be at clinical, and it's not for you to be in the lab. It's to pay your instructors. So that said, this semester we had to add in a whole bunch of other equipment to your bags, none of which you absorb the cost on. Extra PPE, extra masks, extra face shields, extra equipment so that you can practice at home, because you can't bring that equipment from home into the nursing lab because it's contaminating the nursing lab. So we had to have extra equipment in the lab. None of that was pushed off onto you. You saw no increase in the payment for your bags or your fees. We absorbed that. So all of that, when you're asking about, are we going to reduce fees? We cannot reduce fees. We cannot reduce tuition. We cannot reduce fees, because we have to pay for all of the extra stuff that we are doing. And we are now paying more because it's not balancing. Okay. We were fortunate. We received some CARES money that will assist us with that, but it will not cover all of it. So that is to answer the question that I have gotten repeatedly about reduction in fees. The other question I get, how about, why am I paying for security? Security is there to maintain the security of the building. One SimMan mannequin costs $100,000. If there is no security on campus, there is no one securing the equipment. If it is vandalized, there is nothing for you to come back to. So we have to pay for security. You are still paying IT fees because we are still using IT to provide us with Zoom and everything else that is accessible to you. So there is no reduction in fees, and there cannot be because we are still utilizing the services, even though we are not face-to-face with all of the players that are part of those services, okay? You will, when returning to clinical, the groups in terms of how we've prioritized, why can't I go? Why is it not fair to me as a 140 student? Here's why. ASIN says 50%, no more than 50% of your entire clinical can be simulated. So if we make the entire fourth semester 100% face-to-face, which we felt was an absolute priority, you are getting ready to graduate, to go out, to take care of patients. We need you to have 100% face-to-face. I have to balance that somewhere when I'm only sending 4 students in a clinical group. So the first semester, those 140 associate degree students will be no face-to-face clinical. And normally you would have only had 10 hours anyhow. And critical skills on campus, which reduce the total time on campus, but you are still receiving remote instruction for all of your skills. And in the second and third semester, 50%, and in the fourth semester, 100%, which balances this, which gives us the 50% the entire way through. Okay. For our practical nurses, they are held to an even higher standard, where the associate degree students do about 585 hours of clinical. Practical nurses do 900. And the state has not been as kind to us in some of that. So in their first semester, they are not doing any face-to-face. They're doing the same things that you are doing in the associate degree program. In their second semester, they are just getting out to clinical for the first time, and they are working with patients in nursing homes, which do not impact us in terms of like Pinnacle reductions in size. So we're going to give them 100% face-to-face in their first semester or their second semester. In the third semester, they are in the summer semester, they are going to OB, Peds, Psych. All of those have been reduced to 50%. And by their fourth semester, they are back to 100% so that we can reach their 900 clinical hours, okay? So there were decisions made in all of this that impact all of you to give you the best education that we can possibly give you, okay? We've had a lot of complaints from students about the face shields. Why are you making me wear the face shields at clinical? So this is the best example I can give you. You've all seen this, I know. You've seen the peeing example, right? If I'm not wearing a mask and you're not wearing a mask and you pee, it gets me all wet, right? So that's the example of no mask. This is the example of me in a mask and you not in a mask. And this is the example when we both wear a mask. So when we go out to clinical, the patients do not have to wear masks in the room. Okay, when they are in their room, they do not have to wear masks. WellSpan is asking them that if a provider is in the room to put on a mask, if that provider is within 3 feet of them. Pinnacle is not requiring them to have a mask. So what we are doing is giving you a face shield. So now, if your patient has no mask on, but you have a face shield and a mask, you are protected. That is why you're wearing the face shields. It is the double layer of protection, okay? I understand you find that they're difficult to talk through, that you have to talk louder. I get all of that, but your safety is our priority. So I ask that you please, please wear your face shields when you are within 6 feet of the patient, okay? In terms of the priorities for face-to-face, we've already discussed that because the whole idea is to maintain clinical hours and to get you the clinical hours you need to graduate, because that is our ultimate goal, is your graduation, your completion on time, assuring that you are getting everything you need, okay? In the remote environment, clinical can be expanded case studies. It can be a multitude of things that we are doing, but the whole idea is to assure you that you are getting what you need. Now, what I hear constantly is your concern about your skills. You are worried about your skills. You're worried about the fact that you're not doing blood pressures on real people while you're remote, that you're not putting catheters in the mannequins. You're worried about that. And what I want to assure you is this. What you can do task-wise, you will learn on the job very, very quickly. What you learn thinking-wise, you will get from us. We assure you that you will be given the ability to critically think like a nurse, because that is the most important thing that we can give to you. Okay? Why is that important? I'm going to give you an example. Okay? Mrs. Filburn worked with the Community College of Allegheny County this summer, doing some critical thinking exercises with them. And this is a little excerpt of something that I presented, but I want to share with you what we will give you through our thinking and through our building your thinking. So this is a case study of an 18-month-old female child with second-degree burns. Over 60% of her body included her arms, legs, face, fingers, chest, back, and feet, after accidentally climbing into a bathtub filled with hot water. She was admitted to the best hospital in this country on January 30th of 2001. Okay? So again, second degree, arms, legs, face, fingers, chest, back, and feet. This is second degree burns. 60% of her body covered in these types of burns. Okay? On February 14th, after 2 weeks in the PACU, she moved out to a step-down unit. Her mother was extremely concerned about that because she had built this rapport with those nurses in the ICU. She felt really comfortable in that PICU. She was very concerned about going out to the floor. On February 18th, during a bath, now mind you, the 14th, she went out to the floor. 4 days later, she's weak. Her mother has to prop her up to bathe her. She's sucking furiously on a washcloth. At bedtime, her eyes roll back in her head, and her mother asks the nurse to call the doctor. The nurse, in her infinite wisdom, says, she's fine. The monitor says she's fine because she used the monitor as a parameter instead of assessing the child. Okay? She's fine. Her vital signs are fine. She's normal. Encourage the mother to go home, get some rest, stop worrying. The next morning on February 19th, the mother came in at 5:30, ran into the hall screaming because she knew something was not right. 5 days after being moved to a step-down unit. 5 days after being told she'll only be on the unit another week and she'll be able to go home. 5 days, her child is lethargic, pale, eyes are sunken, pupils are dilated, blood pressure is low, and the nurse, in her infinite wisdom, thinks she's over-sedated her because she gave her pain medication. So she gives her Narcan. The child goes into cardiac arrest on February 19th, 5 days after being removed from the ICU to a step-down unit. They move her back to the ICU. They can't find an IV line. They can't find a site. They perform CPR for 45 minutes. She's christened in a bedside ceremony. Her siblings come to visit her on February 19th. And on February 22nd, at 6:11 in the evening, she dies. The day before her heart stopped beating, her weight dropped 20%. 10% is severe dehydration. She only weighed 20 pounds, 8 ounces at 18 months of age. That is less than an average 1-year-old. She soiled 14 diapers in 24 hours. 24 hours before her death, she was evaluated by 3 physicians in the best hospital in the country. 24 hours before her death, she was cared for by 3 nurses in the best hospital in the country. 3 nurses who completed programs with all their skills. All their skills. Her charting had all of her vital signs. No abnormalities were listed whatsoever in the charting. All of her eyes and nose were recorded properly, but no one paid attention to them. No one assessed them. No one measured them, looked at them, cared about them. No one noted a single issue. Not a single issue. On February 22nd, that child died from a third world disease, dehydration, in the best hospital in the world, Johns Hopkins, and her name was Josie King, and this is a true story. We will teach you how to think, because thinking saves lives. Putting in a catheter would not have saved that child. Putting in an NG tube would not have saved that child. Assessment would have saved that child. No one did their job for that child. I guarantee you, you will be able to think when you leave this program. Do you have any questions for us?
I did. They told us to apply for graduation by October 1st.
Okay.
But I was concerned, would you be doing that if you want to bridge over to RN?
You have to apply for graduation because you have to complete the practical nursing program to bridge. And I am going to be getting out a message to you all. I'm going to set up a time to meet with all of our LPNs to talk about that new bridge program. Dr. Ski, are you with us? I saw you join us. Are you still with us? I thought I saw him jump in. Maybe I did. Dory, welcome. Our dean is with us. I didn't realize you were with us. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here.
All right. Any other questions?
Monica, there are two questions in the chat that I answered. Do you want me to verbalize them?
Go ahead, please.
The one question is from Terry. Is the amount of face-to-face clinical time for the 1st through 4 semester program day program only, or will the evening program have that 50%?
Same
and
thing.
The answer to that, Terry, is that our curriculum for the college is exactly the same, so the 50% rule will be consistent regardless of which program you're in.
Correct.
And then just so that everybody knows, the college has purchased face shields. There was a question from Alexis, are face shields being supplied to us or do we have our own? And indeed, the college has supplied your faculty members with a face shield for each of you, and you'll receive that before you go on to clinical, probably the first day from your clinical faculty. Another question, Monica. I know you went over the clinical part, but can you explain the days that we would have clinical for the RN program if possible? I was told previously that they may be on weekends and we have theory on Fridays. So I'm assuming that this is the weekend program.
Yeah, it all depends. It all depends on the program. So if you are in the 4-semester day program, for the most part, those clinicals fall either on Tuesday or Thursday, or Trudy, when are yours falling? Tuesday, Thursday?
Tuesday, Thursday, and occasional Fridays.
Occasional Friday. Same thing on the Harrisburg campus, an occasional Friday because of our OB rotations. When you go to OB, we have to use an occasional Friday. For the 8-semester programs, it varies depending upon the campus and the level and the course. Some of those are happening on, again, it varies, but it's usually 1 day a week theory, 1 day a week clinical, and it varies. For the weekend, go ahead. For the weekend program, and then I'm going to come to Cindy's 8-semester program because it's a little different at York. For the 4-semester weekend program on the Harrisburg campus only, clinical will be Saturday in 150 and 51, most likely all Saturday unless we can't get a site. And then it might be you have it either on Saturday or Sunday, not both. And when you get to summer in that weekend program, it will be both days of the week, Saturday and Sunday, unless you are a transitional PN who does not need OB or PEDS. If you do not need OB or PEDS, that will change that. But if you have, you're going to have med surg on 1 day, and your specialty on the other for the first 6 weeks of summer, and then in the second 6 weeks, it would flip, okay? If you are on the York campus, theirs is very different because their day program does weekend clinical. And
Right,
their
and you're
evening-
every other weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and the weekends vary, but it's every other weekend for the semester that you're in a course.
Okay.
And Monica, there's a question. Can you go over that for LPN 2? We were told Monday, Wednesday, Friday clinical. Wasn't sure if that changed. And does LPN have night clinicals too? Or is the LPN program only days?
Right now, LPN clinical is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I do not believe we are using any evenings at present. Is somebody using evenings? Trudy, you are.
There is a section, and yeah, in Lancaster.
Yeah, Lancaster has an evening. It all depends on the program. Mark, I'm not sure. Heather, are we using any evenings on the Harrisburg campus for PN? No? And
I don't think
Cindy,
so.
yours won't go till spring. So, and we don't have that finalized. yet.
Correct.
PN's on the York campus.
But
That
we are
has
not
nothing-
anticipating evening clinical.
Okay.
Question about the uniforms. I still don't have mine.
Yes, that's what I'm hearing. So I will shoot off an email to Kyle DeBrito in the bookstore and find out what he can tell us about the uniforms. I am guessing that is back order because of COVID. But let me hustle him a little bit on that and find out if he can give us any information, and I will make sure I get that information out to all of you as soon as I possibly can. But I just learned of that this morning, so just bear with me. I will reach out to Kyle and I will get that information back to you. I understand some of you have the tops, but not the pants. The navy pants you could buy at Walmart. You don't have to get them from the uniform. If you want to go to Walmart and buy a pair of navy pants, we are good with it, okay? The top you kind of do need from us, but we will get an assessment of when he thinks tops and the jackets will be in, and I will make sure you know that. So if we have to say Plan B, we are good at Plan B at this point. We are like the queens and kings of Plan B. Okay?
And a follow-up question, a follow-up comment from Brittany. When I contacted the bookstore, they said they were on back order, but only because the vendor was not communicating or working with them like they should be, they said.
Okay, Brittany, I will check on that. Okay, I don't know the answer. Okay, but I will find it.
Question from JC, just to clarify, we nursing students will not be taking care of COVID positive or suspected COVID patients at our clinical sites. Is that
Absolutely.
correct?
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. I caution you all to be careful. Okay. If a physician, well-meaning, wonderful physician comes out and says to you, hey, come on in this room. This patient has a great murmur. Pause and ask if the patient has been screened for COVID before you traipse into the room. Okay? Because what we are assigning you, we are trying to assure does not have an exposure to COVID or COVID, but I can't control all variables, so I need you to help control variables. Okay? Somewhere.
A few comments that Amazon has really nice navy scrub pants.
Okay, great. Good news. So the
Question
story.
from Mark.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dory. There's a question about the books in the library. Are they able to check out books from the library?
I thought they were, but I'm looking into that now. I'll put
Okay.
something in the chat as soon as I locate it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I knew you would know the answer. Any other questions for us?
Question from Josh. Why aren't classes taught over Zoom just like they would be in person? The lecture could be recorded if needed. Podcasts aren't as interactive as an actual lecture.
Again, we were looking at that, and one of the issues that we had, Josh, was that we do have students in programs who are parents, and those students in programs have to be present. They are required by their school to be present when their child is Zooming. Part of the reason for that is the children can't manage the Zoom. And obviously, some parents only have one computer, so it makes it difficult. So what we were trying to do is to be more accessible to all of our students. so that we're meeting all of your needs. And that's why we were doing a combination of podcasting and lecture, so that in lecture, we are making sure that we're getting key points and key components with you. So that was the rationale for why we went that way.
Question from Alexis, will classes for the LPN be as they are now, where we can have them all on the same day, or will it be different?
We are trying to keep scheduling the same way that we have been scheduling it. We're not trying to switch up scheduling. So our goal is to keep scheduling on target, okay?
Question from Matthew, just a comment. I will not be able to enter outside facilities and continue to work where I currently work. I know several people who have had to put school on hold because of this protocol.
Yeah, and I'm sorry about that. I understand that. We have employers that won't let you work or go to a clinical agency that's not them. If you need to take a medical withdrawal, we'll call it a medical withdrawal, and then you can come back in. We'll bring you right back in where you left off. We are being as flexible with our processes as possible.
Request for clarification from Terry. Advanced standing LPNs in PN program part-time.
Okay.
If we tested out of 150, is there still a skill competency on that site that we need to schedule?
You will get information from, and I'm going to let Connie talk about that, Connie Dagan, who is our DC&E, who does a lot of scheduling on the Lancaster campus for skills testing. There are skills, and you would be coming in to validate and prove that you have those skills. So Connie, do you want to?
I was going to say we prioritize this semester students that were going to clinical. So if you weren't immediately going to clinical this semester, but you still need a skills test, we'll be reaching out to you to schedule that. So it depends on where you fall, when you're going to clinical, when you're going to do that skills testing, if you need that.
Okay.
Question from Alexis, will there be options for night classes? I know a lot of people have had to go leave at work in order to maintain clinicals and classes. What can the people who need to keep working do to maintain both?
So we have no discussions right now to do night classes. That has not been part of our discussion. I would recommend that the scheduling of the classes and clinical have followed if we were on campus, you would be following the same schedule and you would have to be adjusting work around it. So I don't have an answer for that, but moving to a night program has not been part of the discussion. Any other questions?
And I might add that that is one of the reasons why we do have the evening program option. The part-time evening program is available on all 4 of our campuses, Gettysburg, Harrisburg, Lancaster,
It'll take you
and
8
Newark.
semesters instead of 4, but if that's something that would work better for you, we would be happy to discuss the possibility of moving between a day and an evening program. And that's a question for your director on your campus. All 4 campuses have day and evening options.
Yeah, Alexis, that is only for the RN program.
Yes.
There is no evening option for LPN, and then part of that is because of our state regulations and the hours that are required.
The PNs have to do 900 hours, and when you graduate, if you're working in a nursing home, you're passing meds on up to 30 patients at a time. So we have to get them really good skilled med passes. So we do daylight clinical so you can get the skills you need. So that's the rationale for why we are having day programming, is so that we can get you the skills you need so that you graduate ready to hit the ground running. And all of you are going to hit the ground running, I will tell you that. Okay.
Dory, did you want me to read your response? Okay. So Dr. Allman wrote back about the library. Regarding the library, physical books are not currently available for checkout. However, you have access to the HAC ebook collection when you go to the library page and do a search of a catalog. Using the books and media link, it should give you all of the titles we have electronically. You can also access the EBSCO ebooks database from our articles and databases tabs. And there was an email that was put out by the library. I think they're concerned about hardbound books going back and forth between homes and in the time of COVID. Ashley asks, I may have missed, but there will be a separate meeting for possible LPN to RN, correct?
For those of you in the current LPN program that is 100% stackable, I have dates now from both the Harrisburg and the Lancaster campus. And I am going to do another Zoom session with all of you to talk about how that transition works if you want to move straight from LPN to RN program. And we will go over all the nuts and bolts and ins and outs of that in that totally stackable program. Okay.
Question from Terry, where will the recording of this meeting be housed so we can access it?
Okay, I'm going to show you. Let me come out to here and let me get to my screen. Hold on. Maybe if I actually had my screen up first before I shared. Hold on. Silly me. I need my internet. There it is. It's way down there. Okay. Let me get out to here. Okay. So let me get over here again. Hold on.
Monica, while you're doing that, I'll maybe
Go ahead. Take
maybe
questions.
one of the other directors can take this question.
Mhm.
How is COVID affecting the prospects for new nurses to be hired? Are there more openings or fewer openings because of COVID?
There are the same number of openings. I don't know that there are more or fewer, but they are hiring you. We have 100% job placement. Okay. They understand, every employer in this state, this Commonwealth, in Maryland, anywhere, they all understand that every single program is under the same restrictions. And they have been at tables with us. We have an advisory committee meeting. And during our advisory committee meeting, they have discussed with us the need to have a more detailed preceptorship that has maybe a little bit more depth with skills for you all, because we've had that discussion. Okay, so they know what's coming, and they are ready. They're ready for you. Okay, so if you go out to my hack, okay, oh, I didn't want to do that. Let's go to hack.edu. I was in the right place in the first place. Sorry. Right over here, you can either plug in RN or practical nurse, either one. Okay, I'm going to do RN only because it's shorter to type in, and hit go. It's going to take you to the nurse page, either the nurse or the practical. This is where the link was for the last one. It'll be right here. Okay, we're going to put it right out on that page under, and it'll read Spring 2021 Nursing Update Information. So this will go down and the new will go up. Okay, so you'll be able to.
Another question.
I'm going to stop the share again, if that's okay.
This is from iPhone. You will email us that Zoom date for the LPN RN program.
Yes.
Also, I know we need a 70 to apply to the RN. Does it matter if it's 70 or 80? Do we get our first choice of campus day or night if we're bridging from LPN?
It doesn't matter what you're going to do. And again, I don't want to get into the weeds with it here because it's specific to you. As long as you have a 70 and your GPA is 2.5 and you've completed the practical nursing, you move in to a seat, and we will give you where those options of seats exist. And it's based on the availability. There will be more availability on the Harrisburg campus because we're going to have an actual cohort for you starting there. Okay.
Question from Allison. Do you know when the classes for spring 2021 will be able to view? I also noticed that the registration dates haven't been posted yet for spring 2021. I assume everything is behind due to the chaos of COVID.
Dory, do you want to take that one? Are you still with me? I don't know if Dory's still on.
I'm here.
There you go.
Yep.
I knew you would have it because we just had that discussion.
So regarding winter session,
Spring 2021.
spring 2021 is going to go live October 15th.
And then registration, Dory, starts, I thought I saw online the 26th for veterans and active military, and then the 28th for continuing students. Is that correct?
I believe that is. I'll double check it. That's not in the same document I have up.
And I don't think that's different from the dates that usually are.
Yeah, one of the things
Alexis,
that will be somewhat maybe a little different with the new registration. I guess you guys noticed that because of remote, the first selection used to be what campus are you looking for, and now it's not what campus are you looking for. So what we have asked faculty to do in my course, I am giving off the CRN numbers to the 151 students. So I'm handing them over to the instructor in 151. So they're able to register for the 240, 241, or 242, 243 courses. We're giving you the CRNs to make it a little bit easier to find them, because with that not being there, with the campus not being there, we've had a couple issues. So the first issue is you don't know where to register, where you're attending, and you don't know your CRNs because it made it more difficult. So we're going to try to clean that up. The second one is the bookstore. If you are purchasing books, bags, anything, you have to buy it from the campus you're attending, because the bookstore, the way it's set up, it's attached to the CRN. And what ends up happening is if I have 64 students on the Harrisburg campus in one CRN, and there's 32 in an evening group on the Lancaster campus, and we're purchasing things from each other, it makes it uneven in terms of distribution. So please make sure that you are purchasing anything that you need from the correct bookstore. And the bookstore is asking, when you register, you're registering for the whole semester. You're registering for both mini-mesters or the whole semester. So please look at all your courses, and if possible, and I recognize finance is an issue, and we've already had that discussion with the bookstore, but because they are mailing things out, they're asking if they could possibly have like one order from a student rather than 6 orders from a student to try to control some of the cost, okay? So if you could, and I absolutely get that finance is part of that, okay? I get that. But if you're capable of doing all of your ordering, packets or whatever you're ordering at one time, they're asking if you could please try to do that. It would really help the bookstore. They sent over 12,000 emails or packages out last semester. That's a lot. That's a lot of mail, guys, right? So please just try to, if you can, okay? And we get it. We understand.
So Dr. Allman has confirmed the Reggie dates, that veterans may start to register on October 28th, current students October 30th, and then new students November 11th. Also a question as to whether there will be a winter session this year for regular classes.
I thought that there would be a winter session. Dory's shaking her head yes. Doesn't apply to nursing. We don't have winter sessions for nursing, but I believe for regular classes, yes, there are winter sessions. Please make sure you're looking ahead. If you need a bio before you start into a program or into a level, that you've had all of those bios done, psych done before you take 250 or 244, all of those things. So pay attention to that, okay?
And that closes the questions. There are no more questions on the chat room.
All right. Are we good? Did I hit all your concerns? Did I address all of your concerns? Hang with us, guys. We're doing the very best we can. We want you to have the best education possible. Okay.
Martu, Mrs. King has said that winter schedule should be live on September 21st afternoon. So look for that on the college website.
All right. All right. It is my pleasure to have spent the part of my afternoon with you, and I thank you all for taking time out of your busy day to join me. And like I said, we'll get this posted, and just hang in there, guys. You got this, okay? You can do this. Positive self-talk. I can do this. I am capable. I am able, okay? Keep all that positive self-talk coming, okay? All right.
Where can we find this posted?
out on the, if you go out to Hack, where I showed you, go to hack.edu,
Okay.
okay, and it'll be there, okay? Any other questions? All right, gang. Have a wonderful rest of your week and weekend.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Bye, guys.